Last spring, 2 houses on the same street went up for sale just days apart. Same builder, same layout, same neighborhood. One had multiple offers in less than 2 weeks. The other sat on the market for months. Real estate agents kept saying the same thing. People made up their minds before they ever opened the front door. The difference was not the kitchen. It was not the bathrooms. It was not even the price. It was the front yard. Today, I am ranking the 8 most common front yard landscaping mistakes that quietly kill your home's value, from the ones that hurt a little, all the way down to number 1, which I want you to picture before I even finish describing it, because the odds are genuinely high that it is happening at your house right now. Every single one of these is fixable, most of them in a single weekend without hiring anyone. Stay with me through all 8, because number 3 is the one that surprises people most. The instinct behind it is completely understandable, which is exactly why it catches so many homeowners off guard. And number 1 is the mistake real estate professionals mention more consistently than anything else on this list. Let us start the countdown. Number 8. Plants crowding your walkway. This one is so gradual that most homeowners genuinely do not notice it happening. You plant something small and pretty along the edge of your front path, and for the first year, it looks charming. By year 3, guests are instinctively walking slightly sideways to get to your door. Here's what that actually does to someone's experience of your home. Research in landscape design consistently shows that a path that feels squeezed or uncertain slows a visitor's approach and creates a subtle feeling of unease. Not dramatic, nothing they would put into words, but enough to shift their impression of the space before they've even reached the door. One landscape architect put it this way: when both edges of a walkway are clearly defined, movement feels natural and confident. When plants lean even 4 inches into a 36-inch path, the entire entry starts to feel uncertain. The fix is genuinely simple. Pull back your planting lines so the full width of the walkway is clearly readable from the street. Keep plant mass at least a few inches away from the path's edge. The path should look wider from the curb than it does up close, not narrower. And here's the part that always sticks with me about this one. People make this one fix, nothing else, just clearing the plants back from the front path, and neighbors start commenting that the house looks different, better, cleaner. Not one of them can say exactly why. That's how curb appeal actually works. The eye registers it before the brain does. Number 7, ignoring scale and proportion. This is the mistake that makes a yard feel off in a way that's hard to name but impossible to unsee once you know what to look for. Scale is the relationship between your plants and your house. Proportion is the relationship between your plants and each other. When either of these is wrong, your front yard will never look quite right, no matter how much money you spend on it or how often you water it. The most common version of this mistake in American front yards is small ornamental plants planted in a row against a large 2-story home. They look fine in the nursery and fine the first year, but against the mass of a large house, they read as an afterthought, something tiny placed at the base of something big with no visual connection between them. The opposite version happens too. 1 or 2 plants that were purchased as manageable that have over the years grown into something that competes with the house itself, blocking windows, swallowing architectural details, making the home look smaller and more hidden than it actually is. Benjamin Vogt, a landscape designer and natural gardening expert, puts it directly. Right plant, right place makes a garden truly flourish. And the key variable people routinely underestimate is mature size. A plant labeled dwarf at a nursery can still reach 20 feet at full maturity. The label describes its size relative to others in its species, not its eventual size in your yard. Before you plant anything new in your front yard, look up the mature height and spread it, not the size on the tag. Plan for what it will be in 10 years, not what it looks like today. Number 6, no outdoor lighting. Most people treat front yard lighting as a purely aesthetic choice, something nice to have if you want it, easy to skip if you don't. The data says otherwise. But before we get to the numbers, think about this for a second. Imagine driving through a neighborhood after sunset. Every home blends into the darkness. You see shapes, roof lines, the occasional porch light, but nothing that pulls you in. Then one house is different. Warm pathway lights leading to the front door, a softly lit tree in the corner of the yard, a front porch that feels genuinely welcoming even from 50 feet away and from inside a moving car. Before you've even parked, you've already decided which house feels better cared for. That's what lighting does, and its absence does exactly the opposite. Landscape designers are consistent on this point. Outdoor lighting is one of the fastest, highest return upgrades you can make to a front yard, and its absence is one of the most common and easily overlooked mistakes. Everything you've planted, everything you've maintained, all of it becomes completely invisible the moment the sun goes down. If a potential buyer drives by your home on a winter evening, which happens more than most sellers expect, they see nothing. The fix doesn't have to be expensive. Solar-powered path lights along your front walkway cost between $5 and $15 each and require no wiring whatsoever. Warm LED uplights at the base of a tree or architectural shrub cost about $20 and transform the entire experience of your yard after dark. If your front yard has no lighting at all, this is genuinely one of the highest ROI weekends you can spend on your property. Number 5, neglected weeds and messy mulch beds. This one is not about gardening, it is about perception, and specifically about what a weedy mulch bed communicates to anyone passing your home. Landscape professionals are consistent on this. Structured, well-maintained beds instantly make a property look intentional and polished. Weeds growing through mulch signal one very specific thing, which is that this space is not being actively cared for. And once that signal registers in a buyer's brain, they start looking for confirmation of it everywhere else on the property. Here's the part that genuinely surprised me when I looked into this. Buyers do not see weeds and think, I would need to pull some weeds. They see weeds and start wondering, what else has been let go? What is the condition of things I cannot see? The weeds become a shorthand for the state of the whole property in a way that is entirely out of proportion to how simple they actually are to fix. The practical guidance from landscape professionals is to pull weeds every 2 weeks. That is the actual recommendation. Not daily, not even weekly. A 2-week habit is genuinely all that separates a yard that reads as well-maintained from one that reads as neglected. A bag of fresh mulch after clearing weeds takes an hour and costs about $15. The visual impact is immediate and dramatic. Number 4, poor drainage and standing water. Standing water is not just ugly, it's expensive. This is the mistake that moves from cosmetic problem to genuine liability, the one on this list that causes the most costly damage without the homeowner ever fully realizing it is happening. Every heavy rain quietly pushes moisture toward your foundation. You do not notice it this year, maybe not next year either, but 5 years down the road, you're dealing with foundation damage, siding rot, and repair bills that started with something you couldn't even see from the street. Foundation repairs routinely run into the tens of thousands of dollars. Drainage fixes typically cost a fraction of that, only if you catch the problem before it becomes structural. From a curb appeal standpoint, a waterlogged front yard on a showing day shifts every thought a buyer has from, I love this, to what does this cost to fix? And once that question is in their head, it's very hard to get it out. The diagnostic step is simple. After the next significant rain, walk your front yard and watch where the water goes. It should move away from your house toward the street. If it pools near your foundation, that's the problem to fix before any other landscaping investment you make. Number 3, overplanting and overcrowding. This is the one that surprises people most because the instinct that causes it is completely understandable. You want your yard to look full and lush right away, so you plant things closer together than the mature spacing recommends. And for the first year or two, it looks exactly right. Full, intentional, like something out of a magazine. Then year 3 arrives. Landscape experts consistently describe overplanting as one of the most damaging mistakes in American front yards. The consequences go well beyond how it looks. Shrubs planted too close together block airflow, which creates conditions for fungal disease. They trap moisture against your home's siding, which causes rot. They block windows, making your home's interior darker and your exterior look buried. And by the time most homeowners realize what's happening, the plants are established enough that removing them feels like undoing years of work. One detail from the research that stuck with me: the instinct to overplant is partly driven by how plant tags describe spacing. Many tags give a recommendation based on 10-year growth, not the plant's eventual mature size over 20 or 30 years. The spacing that looks perfectly reasonable at the nursery is often what creates an overcrowded mess within a decade. The principle to follow is straightforward. Leave more space than you think you need. Use ground covers or low-maintenance perennials to fill visual gaps in the early years instead of adding more shrubs. Your yard will look a little sparse the first season or two, and then gradually exactly right. Number 2, visible neglect and deferred maintenance. This is where the list shifts from landscaping specifically to something broader, and it's worth naming clearly because it's the category that does the most consistent damage to perceived home value across the widest range of properties. Landscape and real estate professionals consistently point to visible exterior neglect as the single most reliable way to drag down a home's curb appeal, regardless of how good the landscaping itself is. Peeling paint on trim or shutters, a leaning mailbox, broken porch railings, cracked or stained driveways, bent gutters. None of these feel like major issues on their own, but every single one pulls the eye and holds it there. Here's why that matters so much. Neglected maintenance doesn't just look bad in isolation, it makes everything around it look worse. A beautiful garden bed in front of a house with peeling trim reads as an afterthought. A clean driveway next to a broken porch railing draws the eye straight to the railing. Visible deferred maintenance is what designers call a visual anchor. The eye finds it, returns to it, and can't fully appreciate anything around it because the brain keeps registering the one thing that's wrong. The fix for most of these is genuinely not expensive. A gallon of exterior trim paint runs about $30. A new mailbox post is around $40. A bag of concrete to reset a leaning post takes an afternoon. None of these require a contractor, but their visual impact on buyers, on neighbors, on anyone who looks at your home is disproportionate in a way that is hard to overstate. And number 1, the most common, most overlooked, most visually damaging mistake on this entire list. I want you to picture the front of your own house before I even finish describing it. Shrubs and foundation plantings that have completely outgrown your home. I am talking about the bushes that were knee-high when they were planted and are now covering your windows. The evergreen shrubs that once framed your front door and now swallow it. The row of plants along your foundation that made your home look polished 15 years ago and now make it look like the house is slowly disappearing behind a wall of green. This is number 1 because it does something no other mistake on this list does. It works against your home in multiple directions at once. Visually, oversized foundation shrubs destroy what designers call the front elevation, the clean, readable face of your home that buyers and passersby evaluate in the first 3 seconds of seeing it. When shrubs grow past the bottom of your windows, your home starts to look smaller, darker, and more hidden. The trim, the shutters, the architectural details you paid for, buried. The roofline disappears. The house stops reading as a house and starts reading as a wall of green with a door somewhere in the middle. Structurally, shrubs planted too close to the foundation trap moisture against your siding and foundation walls. That moisture causes rot, mold, and over time, the same slow, progressive damage we talked about with drainage. Quiet, expensive, and easy to miss until it is not. That is why landscape designers repeatedly recommend cutting foundation shrubs back before spending money on almost anything else outside. Not replacing them with something expensive, just cutting them back or removing them entirely and starting fresh with something appropriately sized. The house that was hidden underneath becomes visible again. The front elevation becomes readable again. The home looks newer, larger, and better maintained. Not because anything structural changed, but because the eye can finally see it clearly. Buyers cannot appreciate a house they cannot actually see. The rule to follow going forward is simple. No shrub should ever grow past the bottom third of your ground floor windows. That single guideline applied consistently prevents the entire problem. The National Association of Realtors found that landscape improvements deliver up to 217% return on investment, the highest ROI of any home improvement category they track. And the single fastest way to start capturing that return on almost any property is to let your house be seen. 8 mistakes, most of them fixable in a weekend, all of them directly connected to how your home reads to the world before anyone ever gets close enough to knock on the door. Curb appeal is not about perfection. It is about the clear, unmistakable signal that someone who lives here is paying attention. That signal is worth more than almost anything else you can do to a property, and it costs less than almost any other home improvement you could make. If this gave you something useful today, subscribe. I research topics like this every single week. And tell me in the comments, which one of these 8 did you not know was affecting your home's value? I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.